Welcome to Creepy and Geeky. I'm your host, Robert, and on today's episode, I'm talking to returning guest Angel Krause about the Osgood Perkins movie Longlegs. Angel is the creator and host of the Voices from the Mausoleum YouTube channel. Welcome back to the show, Angel.
What's up, Robert? How are you? Thanks for having
Hey,
me back.
yeah, it's always good to have you on the show. It's been a little bit.
Yeah. We did the
Yeah,
fog. That's the last one we did.
yeah. So it
Yeah.
hasn't been too long. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
pretty good. I forget.
Fair. I think
um,
this is a shorter time than the time before, though. Like
yeah.
between
Oh,
fog and
definitely.
whatever it was we did before, that was
Right.
like a much longer streak
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
this. So that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's always good having you on. We are just like we were saying off air, we are legit actual neighbors, not
Yeah.
like next door to each other, but we live
Right.
in basically the same town.
Yeah, for
So,
real.
which is crazy because like we've only met up once, like what was
Yeah.
that? 3 year, 4 year? I don't
It was
even
like,
know.
wait,
It was a while ago, yeah.
it's been a minute. Yeah.
But
Years. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, that was the last time we met up. First and last time that we met up. Um,
I know. Yeah.
that was, you know what? That was because that was like during like the not like during COVID, maybe like the year
It was like that
after.
aftermath, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I'm sure we've talked about this on previous. My listeners are like, God, stop talking about this. But
It was
anyway,
fun. We
it
did a
was
we
fun.
had a very,
It was,
memorable, I would
ugh,
say,
yeah.
first
Let-
first meetup for sure.
we'll say memorable.
Memorable.
You were wonderful. That part of it was
Yeah, for sure. It was nothing about, like, that part of it, but, yeah, there was,
the rest
some
of
other
it was a
stuff was a
little
little
the rest of it was a little funky.
yeah,
You never
for
did end
sure.
up releasing any kind of episode about that, did you?
I wasn't allowed to, basically.
Really?
Yeah, no, like, it got the guy was weird. He got weird after the
Oh,
yeah, and so it was like this whole thing of like, I don't know, I could never get him to answer me. I couldn't get any of the footage, and so it ended up being this just like I was like, "Okay, well, I guess that was a waste of time,"
oh man,
but I
that's
guess
weird.
not. We got to hang out. It was fun. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So for those who don't know, I don't know if we've actually talked about this
Oh, I don't know.
in either way. But so you and I don't remember how we got hooked up. It was probably on Twitter at the time.
Yeah.
Um, and we started
Yeah, that's
talking,
true.
and then we found out we lived near each other. And you wanted to go do this like haunted house thing.
Yeah, like a
And
ghost hunt kinda
yeah,
thing.
like a ghost
Yeah.
hunt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so when so when you told me about it, I was like, okay, yeah, that'd be kind of interesting, meet somebody new and like go out and do something fun and everything. Even if it doesn't pan out to be anything, it'd be cool to just to hang out.
To just do it,
Um,
yeah.
and I was expecting, not gonna lie, I was expecting a real house.
I
Like,
know. The way
it's
that it was talked about, it was a very specific picture was painted of like this haunted house that's had all these things that have happened and all these experiences and it was
yeah,
going to be this and it's going to be that and there's all this equipment it's going to be this whole like I thought we were going on like
yeah.
a an episode of Ghost Adventures, right?
Yeah, because you knew a guy who did this stuff and had the equipment and everything else like
Yeah.
that. We were just tagging along.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you were
to
doing it, you
participate.
were gonna do it as an episode for your show.
Yeah.
And then and so you just asked me to come along just to be another person there.
Yeah.
Um, which is great because I mean you didn't know me from anybody. I mean, we'd been
That's true.
talking
You
for a
could have
little
both
bit.
been serial killers, honestly. What was I doing? Well,
You're a very brave person. Um,
yeah, clearly.
but yeah, so we met at a restaurant. I don't remember what restaurant it was. You and I met at the restaurant, and then we met the guy at the restaurant. Then we all like drove over to this place, which turned out to be a trailer.
Yeah.
Which, fine. I don't have a problem with people who live in trailers. It just wasn't what I was expecting.
It wasn't what I expected
I was
either.
like, this
Yeah.
is really weird. We go in. I like the first thing for me, like, and it was hard for me to stay there, and that's why I ended up leaving early, was because
Yeah.
the people who lived there smoked
Inside.
inside,
It was
and
bad.
so yeah, it was really bad. It was just it
Yeah.
reeked of that smoke and that nicotine everywhere.
It was bad.
If you've ever been inside of a house where people smoke,
Ugh.
you know how bad this is. It just permeates everything.
Yeah.
So we both hung out while the guy set up his equipment and everything like that, in the various rooms and stuff. Um, the the I think it was the son, right? In his room, dude had a bunch of fucking guns up on his
It
wall.
was yeah.
It was weird. I mean, okay, here's the thing. We live in Georgia, so
Yeah, yeah.
we live in the South, so it's kind of
It's
expected,
very
but
like
still,
yeah.
like, everybody knows I'm a liberal.
Yeah, same.
And here's the thing. I'm not against gun owning, but I don't think you need that many guns.
Well,
Um
and you're talking about being in the middle of not the middle of nowhere, but it kind of felt like the middle of nowhere in
oh
somebody's
yeah.
house that you don't know
Yeah.
with like it was a lot to process, that's
It
for sure.
was. Yeah,
It was a lot to
it was
process.
really weird. So,
Yeah.
and I felt and I felt bad too because I left. We stayed for a while.
We were there
You
for
know,
a couple of hours, yeah.
yeah, and then I ended up leaving.
It was too much, I think.
It
Like
was
it
just
was
like the smoke was really too much for me. That was the main
it was
thing.
a
It was
lot.
just really making it hard for me to breathe. It was like my throat was getting super scratchy
We had to take
and
breaks, I
everything.
think, didn't we? We went
Yeah,
outside
we
like a
went
bunch of
outside a
times.
bunch of times because we
We were
needed
like,
to
"Ugh."
get fresh
Yeah,
air.
it was bad.
But so I did feel bad leaving you, but I was just like, "Are you okay?" Like I think I texted you while we were in the
You did
room too.
just to make sure,
I was
yeah.
like, "Would you be okay if I left?"
Yeah.
So and
Yeah.
you're like, "Yeah, that's fine."
Yeah.
And I did feel bad about that, but I'm glad everything turned out
Oh, yeah, no, it was fine, it was fine.
okay. Yeah, it didn't like like you said, you weren't able to use the footage, and the guy turned out to be weird about it and everything like that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, but it was it, the thing about it is that it was a fun experience to hang out with you and to get to know you a bit more and
Yeah,
everything.
for sure.
Obviously, you and I have stayed friends all these
Of
years
course.
later. So
Yeah.
um
It makes for a really funny story to tell, like, how,
does
like, we first, like, ever, like, met up and, like, in person
right.
and spoiler alert, like, we caught nothing.
Yeah.
These little, like, things that it's just like everything else where it's like, "What was that?" Or there's, like, particles of light or whatever,
Yeah.
right? But ultimately, we really didn't get anything, but it was, and it wasn't what I expected because I would love to do ghost hunting, like, for real, for
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
I think it's so fun and cool, like that Urban X kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
it's like, it was just not what either. And then the guy was like, "You guys, you could join the thing and be a part." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, we'll get back to you on that." Yeah, it was a little
Yeah.
weird.
It
It
was a
was a
little weird. It
weird.
was definitely weird.
Yeah.
Um
What
but
do you
that
do though?
yeah.
You try to spread your wings and sometimes you regret it. To an extent. I don't regret,
Yeah.
like, the whole thing, but there's parts of it
Yeah.
where I was like, "What the fuck are we doing?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
There
yeah.
yeah. I didn't regret hanging out with you. That was like
No, not at
that was the
all.
fun part because we did you and I
Same.
were having fun and we were just hanging out and just
We were catching each other, like, making feel like,
we
from across the room.
were too.
Oh,
Oh,
it's funny.
it was so bad. Oh,
Yeah.
but but it was a fun time. We definitely need to hang out and do something
A
actual
little bit
fun.
more like
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Totally agree. That's a good one for the books, though.
Yeah, yeah. No, definitely great first meetup just to like just because I mean either you're gonna have like a meetup that's just gonna be like terrible or
Yeah.
like terrible just because it's blah or
No,
you're gonna
sure.
have a good meetup and you're just gonna hang out, you're gonna have fun or whatever like that. Or you're gonna have what we had and it was terrible. It was so terrible
Yeah.
that it makes for a memorable
Yeah.
conversation later on, a memorable story down the line.
Yeah,
So
and it's like and every time we bring it up, it makes both of us laugh. Like, every time, it's just the moment of, like, I remember when we pulled up, I remember being like, "Is this for real?" Like, "What do you mean?"
I know.
It's fine, but it was yeah, it was a very
Well,
interesting little
because like that was the funny thing too. Because then I was thinking, I was like, what the fuck did Angel get me into?
I
Like,
know because that was the first time we met each other, so we're like I'm probably like, "Oh my god, Rough Light 6, I'm such a weirdo." And then, like, I just
I mean, I
was
did,
trying
but
to
yeah,
just go with it
yeah,
to the best of my abilities because I was like, "Well, we're here, so I guess we're gonna have to make the best of it." I don't know.
we tried. So
Yeah. And here we are, like 3 or 4 years later,
Yeah, yeah. Still hanging out, still talking.
still talking.
So, but yeah, so oh, too funny. All
Yeah.
right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into this movie. Um,
Okay.
as I said, this is Osgood Perkins' Longlegs. This is the second episode in my month-long appreciation of Osgood Perkins movies. I
Mhm,
did the first episode last week with Kat Velour, and we
mhm.
talked about the Black Coat's daughter. So this one kind of follows that one. He did two other movies in between Black Coat's daughter and Longlegs, um, but I didn't really want to cover them. They didn't get a lot of good
Oh,
reviews and stuff like that. So I've never seen them.
yeah.
Um, but and I haven't heard terribly bad things about either movie. But I really wanted to talk about Longlegs.
Yeah.
And this one really kind of feels like a companion piece to the Black Coat's daughter.
Okay.
And what Black Coat's daughter, has a lot of that satanic imagery
Mhm.
and everything. It's got a lot going on. And this
Yeah.
one really kind of leans into that.
Oh, yeah.
And has a lot more of that. Feels like a more assured piece where Blackcoat's daughter kind of meanders and is kind of really slow burn and doesn't have a lot
Yeah.
going on it. This one's got a lot going on. This
Yeah.
one definitely is not a slow burn. There's things happening all the time.
Yes.
And I really dug what this one's doing in terms of thing. Like this is the thing I love what Nicolas Cage is doing in this movie, but
Oh, yeah.
like it's it's only a small piece of like the overall to
It's true.
me. Yeah, like Micah Monroe and
Oh,
everything that's going on in that, like
yeah.
with everything else, that is more substantial and more of what I like on it. Don't get me wrong, I love Nicolas Cage being a weirdo freak, but
Yeah, he did a great
you know,
job for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
but definitely Micah Monroe carries this movie,
Yeah, she's
and
amazing.
she's just great, especially because she's like really underplaying the character because she can definitely you see her in other
She
movies
has
like The
range.
Guest. Yeah, she definitely does.
And who plays her mother in this?
Oh, Alicia Witt. Yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She's amazing. Yeah. And
She's
it's so
amazing.
funny too because I didn't even realize it was her until nearly the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my God, that's crazy."
Mhm.
So yeah.
She's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, it's definitely great performances. Blair Underwood also um plays Michael Monroe's boss in this.
Yep.
And he's knocking
He's
it out of the
also
park.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just so many great performances
Yeah.
and the movie's really really good. So what was your overall thought on this movie like when you first saw it?
Yeah, so I first of all, the marketing on this was
Oh
crazy.
man, so good.
And so you're kind of going in, even if you saw the pieces, even if you were like following it on social medias or whatever, right? I feel really old for saying social medias. Why did I add an S? What am
I
I
don't know.
doing? Social media. It's a plural word, Angel. Anyway, social media on the Instagrams. So even if you follow everything about this film, you're still really, in my opinion, going into it pretty blind
Oh, pretty
because they
blind.
did
Yeah.
such a great job of keeping the community engaged, excited, weirded out, confused,
Mm-hmm.
concerned, wondering the whole time. So I went and saw this in theaters. I didn't go opening weekend, but I went when it was pretty new.
Yeah.
I was supposed to meet a childhood friend of mine, but they are late for, I mean, literally everything. So I was sitting in an empty section of the theater completely by myself for the first 15 minutes of this
Oh
movie.
wow.
And the first 15 minutes are powerful. And so it was, but overall, I think it is a deeply unsettling film. I
Oh
think,
yeah.
when we watch this stuff all the time, like you and I do, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you get desensitized, stuff stops
Oh
working,
yeah.
and it's like hard. But I will say, aside from the performances and the story, the sound design in this is
Mm-hmm.
so unsettling, from the gasp that you get, in the beginning, and to the way people, the volumes that people speak, to the sounds and the environments around, to the distant noise of the TV. Like this stuff is so methodical in a way that every scene you're on edge, like
Mm-hmm.
constantly, the
Oh yeah.
entire film. And I'm sure we'll get to it, but then there's obviously the things that show up that you notice probably more on a second watch than you did the first time. But yeah, I loved this. I think I know Nicolas Cage has said that he's pretty good on playing crazy again. I think he doesn't want to do it, doesn't want to go down that rabbit hole again, but he did an amazing job. And this was
Yeah.
just such a unique take on this sort of like true crime satanic kind of idea, and it just leaves you feeling like at the end of it you're just like overwhelmed almost.
Yeah.
But of course I mean that, in a complimenting way, but it was just a very deeply unsettling movie where you didn't know where it was going to go, and a majority of the main source material for the story you don't even get until literally like the last what, like 20 minutes, and then
Yeah.
you're like you get the full picture. And I just think that they nailed all of those pieces, because how many times have you seen a movie, especially in the horror genre, and 10 minutes in you know exactly everything that's going to happen.
Right.
um but they did a good job promoting this and then not giving you everything up front, so you kind of get to go on this journey, with Lee Harker, and you're like, well, what are the pieces here? And it just made for a really really phenomenal true crime horror film.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think the marketing was
Oh,
fantastic. They were
spot on.
just doling out just little bits of stuff, and the trailers were like just the weirdest images and everything like that, and
So good. Yeah.
you did not know what was going on, but it was just it they were such good teases that you and then I mean we all knew Nicolas Cage was going to be in it, and they gave us little glimpses, but they wouldn't show him like at all. I mean, we didn't even barely see him in the movie until towards the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Um, because the movie's actually more like it's not, and that's what the interesting thing about the movie is. It's not just solely about him. There's something
No,
more.
not at all. He's like an
He's
instrument.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I do think it's funny too because I read that about how he played this character, and afterward he was like, "Yeah, I'm not ever doing this
I'm
again."
not doing this again.
But there's a sequel coming and he's going to be in it. So,
No
yes,
way.
yep, yeah. It was announced in April that
Nicolas Cage, a man of the fans.
yeah, there's a new film in the Longlegs universe was in the works with Perkins returning to write and direct and Cage reprising his role. But this time it's going to be done through Paramount Pictures instead of Neon. So it's a step
Oh.
up money wise. Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I'm
not.
not a big fan of Paramount, but they ruin
Yeah,
things very
yeah,
quickly.
yeah.
But
So we'll see.
we'll see.
Yeah,
We've got
because
the writer director that we need, so maybe the
the
rest
writer
will
director
fall.
and the star
And the
hopefully
one of the
michael
stars.
well, and if they're bringing him back, then the likelihood is maybe they it'll be a prequel. um
That's what I would assume. Sure.
yeah, so we probably won't get Michael Moreau or anybody else back,
No.
um which will be disappointing, but definitely. No, I saw this in theater. I saw it opening weekend
Hmm.
because I was hyped for it because
Yeah.
it looked really cool. um and definitely deserved the hype on it.
Agreed.
Because
Yeah.
it just knocked it out of the park. Um, trying
Yeah.
to look real quick. Let's see. Um, yeah, and basically, I agree with you. Like, when looking at my letterbox review and stuff like that, I was like, just a constant state of unease, which
Always.
echoes what you were saying, just between the
Hmm.
sound design
Yeah.
and everything else that was going on in it. You didn't have a moment to just kind of relax.
Not ever.
um and
No.
it's just because you're left with this, like, one, there's just this weird stuff going on, and two,
Hmm.
like, I know a lot of people, when this movie came out, a lot of people compared it to Silence of the Lambs. And I get it, because female FBI person going after a serial killer, blah blah blah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
very on
yeah.
the very surface level, yes, it's
Yeah.
very similar to Silence of the Lambs, but it's nothing like Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's, in a lot of ways. Look, I think Silence of the Lambs is a good movie. I like
Mhm.
it. It's well, it's very good. I don't love it like everybody, like a lot of people do. Um, Whereas I really like Longlegs. I
Uh-huh.
think,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna watch a movie about a female FBI agent in the '90s going after a serial killer, I'm gonna watch Longlegs.
Yeah.
Um, but that's just me. But
No, I agree. I think you know what my biggest problem with that, like, with The Silence of the Lambs is the accent. Like, I'm super sensitive when
Mm,
people put
yeah.
on Southern accents and they're not Southern, and they make us sound like idiots. These dumb hicks who don't know how to speak properly, and they can't, and I get so mad, and it makes it hard because I actually really like, The Red Dragon was my favorite one, but I think that I really liked all of them, and God, the series was so good with Mads Mikkelsen, but it is
Mm,
one of those things where that was, like, one of those things I really struggled to get through them on a first watch because the accent was horrendous, and I'm like, "What is she doing?" So, yes, I would agree with you. I think this is
yeah.
superior of an idea for a storyline like that
Yeah.
than Silence of the Lambs. I agree on
Yeah.
that front for sure.
Well, and I like that the way Michael Monroe was playing the character was felt very much like she was, because obviously, I mean, from the early on when you first meet her and everything like that, you get a sense, and it comes story wise really early that she has this somewhat psychic ability.
Yes.
But there's also a like an what I want to say is like an almost like not necessarily autistic nature, but similar to an autistic nature. More, just because she's quiet, she's very pointed, she's very methodical about stuff, and in a way that is different than like a neurotypical. She's definitely neurodivergent in some sort, not
Yeah.
just in the psychic realm. Um,
Yeah. Because she also has weird social things.
yeah, yeah,
Like, I think some of my it's also weirdly relatable, but, when he's like, "You have to come in and meet my wife and my daughter," and she's like, "Do I have to?"
yeah, yeah.
And
Well,
she's
and then
like,
she's talking to
"Yeah,
the daughter and she's real stiff and and
just
don't
sit
get me
there,"
wrong, it'd be weird if like, you're sitting there talking to somebody like that, or somebody's
that you've
daughter like
never
that
met
that you've
before,
never
yeah.
met. Yeah.
But it's
So it'd be a
like
little awkward, but
yeah.
yeah.
So she had those kinda, like, social things too where it was
Yeah.
like, she wasn't the best at handling social situations either,
Yeah.
like, she just didn't really know, how to interact
Yeah.
or engage, so
Yeah. So I thought that made the character really interesting too, because
mm,
it wasn't just somebody who was um whenever you see FBI agents in movies, they seem to be generally of a sort, people who
yeah,
are outgoing and people who are like,
cookie cutter.
yeah, very cookie cutter. So it was very nice to see something different. But
I
that
agree.
she had her own like quirks. Like at one point, she's in the car and she's smoking and everything like that. So it was like
Oh,
those little weird quirks like that that I thought really worked well for the character. Um,
yeah.
and she lives out in the middle of nowhere. Like, why would you live out in the middle of fucking nowhere? Like in
That's
the
all she
woods.
knew was isolation, right? Because
Yeah,
after, like, her mom and I mean, it was just the 2 of them, and then it was, like, after so I feel like it was just meant to show, like, she may not have remembered everything in the forefront of her brain, but it was
yeah,
there. It existed in a way where
yeah,
she isolated and tried to remove herself from things in a way that I think was meant to protect herself, even
yeah,
if she didn't maybe understand why. I think she surprisingly for a character that doesn't just speak and speak and speak and speak, she has an insane amount of depth and thought put behind her, and I think
hmm,
it comes across really, really well.
yeah. No, I agree. I think that's what's interesting about her as the characters. You've got this backstory that it builds throughout the movie before you get the like the true backstory of everything.
Yeah,
You get a lot of this like why is she living out in the middle of the woods, away
yeah,
from her mom, who she calls, and her mom, every time she calls her mom, she's like, Lee, and she's like, yes, it's your only daughter, like your
yeah,
only
like, who else
child,
would it be calling you right now?
who else
Yeah.
would be calling you and calling you mom? Um,
Yeah, for real.
so um so it definitely made for an interesting like especially with the mom because you don't see the mom for a good while in the movie.
Yeah,
Um
true.
and just a whole bunch of weirdness going on. Um, putting this in context of the time period, I think they said the movie is set roughly in 1995,
Mhm,
um, and that is at the very tail end of the Satanic Panic
mhm,
that was happening here in the states
mhm,
in the late 70s to mid 90s.
mhm.
Um, this uh, pretty much everybody should know what the Satanic Panic is, but
Yes.
for those who don't know, the
Mhm.
Satanic Panic was this weird existential um, thing that was going on during that time period. When were you born? I can't remember because you're
88.
88. So you were born. You probably didn't really feel that too much because you were by the time you were old
No.
enough to grasp
It
that
had it
kind of
had
thing, it
kind of
had
faded
already
into
faded out.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So me growing up in the 80s, so me growing up basically in that time period,
Mhm.
it was one of those existential fears that we had that
Yeah.
had kind of permeated everything because that was one of the things. I mean, even my mom was like, well, you can't play Dungeons and Dragons because that's satanic and you're gonna, and my mom wasn't even fucking religious. Um, so like it's the craziest thing and everything, just
Yeah.
it's just that fear of Satanism and the cults and everything else like that was not happening at all during that time.
No.
Um, this it was just crazy, and I love that that something like this leans into that. It was just like, well, yeah, Satan did exist, and he was doing the shit at this time,
And
and
all of these
yeah,
things, yeah.
yeah. So I love that there's this whole thing. So and I love the central mystery of this too, just that, because they're trying to find this guy Longlegs, and the fact that um he seems to be killing without actually being there, that he's convincing these fathers of these in these families to kill their whole families and then kill themselves.
Yeah.
Um so it's just I love that there's that that whole aspect of it is going on. It makes for an interesting, you know, procedural type movie, like going after a serial killer and adding that weird supernatural level to it. So
Yeah, because it does take kind of a little bit, I feel, for the supernatural to really sink in, because
yeah.
there's parts of this where you see like a black figure in the backgrounds and stuff,
Mhm.
but I'll be honest with you, on a first watch, I didn't see it ever.
I didn't
Not
even see
one
it on
time.
this second time. Like
Oh, I
I
found
saw
3.
I saw it once, but that was like the most obvious point. And then like was looking at the trivia, and they were like, well, like 14 or 15 times it happens. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
So
I only found 3 on my rewatch for this
yeah,
conversation, but it was very like, if you don't catch those, the supernatural confirmation doesn't really come until later,
yeah,
because they
yeah,
sort of kind of pitch her ability as like she's just maybe really intuitive. Like there really
yeah,
isn't like they don't really focus on that too much at first. It takes a little while to kind of dig into where that might be coming from, and then there's like a true supernatural element. And I'm really glad, because I mean I would have liked it, I think, either way, but I did want it to go in that direction.
yeah.
So I was really glad that it did. And there are parts of this that feel very Seven to me. Like, I
Mm,
don't think this is
yeah.
probably as gritty as
No, no,
7,
no.
but in terms of, like, quirky relationships and, like, trying to solve things, and, like, there's just parts of it where they're trying to put things together that it just kinda gave me that same kind of feeling I would get when I used to watch 7 all the time, because I love that movie too. But it was very, the true crime stuff is just handled so well that
Yeah.
you feel like you're legitimately down this rabbit hole with them, and it made for a really cool experience, I think.
Yeah, I can agree that it felt like there's definitely some like Seven probably played a stylistic um
Yes.
uh
Some
uh,
kinda
uh
influence maybe or
influence
something.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um I think, just this kind of movie lends itself to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Um but I think you know um let's talk about Nicolas Cage in this real quick.
Mhm.
Because he plays a like because like I said, he's it throughout most of the movie. He's one, he's barely there, and two,
Yeah,
when you do see him, you're seeing him. You're not seeing his face. You're seeing him off camera. You're seeing him in like
like
from a distance,
pieces.
or yeah, you're seeing
Yeah.
pieces, and what you're seeing is very weird and odd. Um,
Oof, yeah.
but yeah, um, and it definitely like if you didn't know it was Nicolas Cage, I don't think that you would be able to recognize him. It's hard because like we all went into it knowing it was him.
That's who it was.
And
Yeah.
so there is kind of like a okay, I can recognize it. But apparently during the interrogation scene between him and Michael Monroe,
Mhm.
that was their first time together on
I
set,
love when they do stuff like that.
and she apparently her heart rate was like, I don't know, I guess it was a 70 when she first got
Oh,
in
I
there,
did hear
and
about
it was like
this.
way high, like at like towards the end of it. And apparently they used like she had her microphone was on her, and it like it picked up her heartbeat, so much so that they ended up using that like in the final trailer
That's
or something like that
crazy.
as part of it.
Yeah.
So so yeah, so I like he terrified her so bad, and like, not obviously like not in a bad way, but like, just in just that sequence. So
He has
all
a
that fear.
presence.
Oh yeah. And
That's
then
my favorite scene in the whole movie.
and he fully committed to that. Like he was like fully committed during that scene. So it's just
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's fantastic because that's when like later on you see him um when he's waiting for the bus and gets caught,
Oh,
and
and
then
standing with the
yeah,
yeah.
with the
Yep.
bags, yeah. And then later on you get the most of him in the interrogation scene, which is
Yes.
definitely one of the most disturbing sequences.
It's so, so, so,
So
so
crazy.
unsettling. Like,
Yeah.
there's this weird, like, lean to him, even when he's standing at the stop with the bag in his hand and all that.
Yes.
There's this weird lean, but there's that split second where he straightens, says what he says, and then does what he does, and you're
Yeah.
just like, it was so overwhelmingly good, but it was so unsettling at the same time, and you're just like, "Damn." Like,
Yeah.
that is such an insane scene, and it's one that, like, immediately when I think of this film, that's, like, the first thing that pops in my
Oh
head
yeah.
is that scene. It was so intense, and they did an incredible job in general, like, effects-wise, like,
Oh
set
yeah.
up for that, the post scene, with her kinda standing back and freaked out, and it was so
Yeah.
good. Like, it was just really, really well done. It's hard to forget.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it definitely he's definitely one of those really effective
Mhm.
characters that is you're going to remember for a
For
while. Like
sure.
once you see that character, once you've seen this movie and everything, that's one that stays with you for a
For
while.
sure.
Not necessarily in a bad way, but just in one of those like iconic character ways.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and it's I think it's really cool that he embraced it and
Yeah.
it really did it, and that he's coming back to doing it, even though it disturbed him so much
That
the
shocks
first
me
time.
because he was
Yeah,
pretty adamant that he was like, "Yeah, no, I can't do this again. This is too
yeah.
much." But
I don't know. They must have talked about it and found an angle for them to do it for him to do it. So,
yeah.
which would be pretty crazy. I don't know how much more they could do with him. Maybe like the stuff before he met, um, you know, the other character we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Um, but so yeah, so it's um, definitely a great performance. It's fantastic. Um,
Mhm.
but it's funny too. A little bit of weird trivia that I was reading up on during all of this.
Yeah.
That he apparently Nicolas Cage has a very strange talent that they talked about afterward, was that he has the ability to go very high with his voice. So whenever they're recording, there's levels both
Mhm.
on the high end and on the low end,
Mhm.
where once you go past a certain point, it's hard to the record. It doesn't stop the recording, but it's hard to record, for both sides of that.
Yeah.
So apparently Nicolas Cage has the ability to go just to those lines and not go over those lines or under the
Oh,
lines. So,
weird.
so he can
Okay.
really pitch his his voice up really high and do all the yelling and screaming and stuff like that to a degree where it doesn't overblow the mic. And then
Oh,
on the low end, he can also bring his voice down and say things that are so low but don't get lost either.
that's
So
insane.
and he can do it just he just knows his
Like,
voice really
with
well.
no
Yeah.
yeah, that's
So
crazy.
it's like, wow, okay. Especially for a guy like him who does a lot of screaming and stuff like that,
Mhm.
it's definitely probably useful talent for him. So
Yeah, I would agree.
make sure your voice make sure every line is perfect. So um so I just thought that was an interesting little thing.
That is interesting.
Yeah. Um so for this one, like it's interesting too because, like we said, we haven't really talked about it a little bit. Um, we touched on it, but the character of Lee Harker and her mother, they have a
Mhm.
weird relationship. You hear it just through the phone calls, like we said earlier. Like
Mhm.
her mom always makes this point, like, "Who is this?" Just like your only daughter. Why are you
Ask me
asking
that
me?
every time
Yeah.
I call. Yeah.
And her mother is asking her about saying her prayers and all this weird stuff. And she's obviously got this kind of strained relationship with her mom, where yes, she calls her and talks to her, but they don't live together. And they have this, they don't talk a lot. It's just it seems to be some kind of weird, like, strained relationship in a way. Um,
Yeah.
but it's never really expanded upon. For a while anyway. Once you do, there's a moment where she does go to visit her mom, and um and you kind of get the sense that there's something going on with her mom. Her mom seems to
Yep.
be um religious in a way, but saying weird things, and you're just like, okay, I can see where you would want to, especially if you were going to the FBI and doing this stuff, you'd want to get something a little bit more rational. um
Yeah.
so but then later on, when we find out some more stuff, you find out that her mom has been working with Longlegs, this whole time,
For a
and
long ass time.
yeah,
Yeah.
and um, has been participating. I think it's interesting too because I want to get into this is the reason her mom helps him is to protect Lee, like because he would have killed Lee and her
Yep.
and everything else. But well, he would have done it in such a way that they would have killed each other or whatever. I don't
Yeah.
even know how it
Just
would have
like the
worked.
other families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you discover through all of this that um he creates these dolls of these girls who then gets imbued with this malevolence. And then
Yeah.
these dolls are given to the girls, and that's what ends up making the father kill everybody.
Yep.
um and so towards the end of the movie you find out that Lee's mom is the one who delivers these dolls to these girls,
Mhm.
and and has to stay there and make sure everybody gets killed and everything, which is just like, man, that's like hard. um
Yeah, but it's some of that sequence where we're seeing all of that is some of the best shot
oh
moments in the
yeah,
film, where she's in the car and she touches her face, or when
yeah,
she stands in that, like, very religious-esque kinda pose where she's got the blood on her face and her hands are out with her palms up, and I mean, it's
yeah,
really, really stunning imagery from the religious side of things. It was
yeah,
really cool.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's some of the, like, it once that starts clicking along, like,
Mm,
like the movie's been great up until that point, but like once that,
yeah.
and in this way, I think this is a movie that handles this really well. When movies do this in that way, where you're going along and things are interesting and weird, and you're just like, oh, I wonder what's going on, and then they hit you with that really good exposition dump at the end, and you're just like, oh man.
Yeah,
This does that so well, and it
I
hits
agree.
really hard too, and it's such a good twist. Because like while you know that the mother is weird and everything like that, in these weird ways and everything, you don't expect that. um
No, no, and
yeah,
you don't expect the doll making tables and stuff to be in their basement
in their
either,
basement,
of, like,
yeah,
where she lives. It's
yeah,
like when she wakes up later and she's stumbling around and she, like, walks through there. I think that was the moment it really cemented that for me. I was like, "Oh my god." Like, it's
yeah,
literally there in the house that this person grew up in.
yeah.
Is
He's
yeah,
been
it's
living in that house since she was a kid, since he met her. Like he's been living in that
that
basement this
creepy
whole time.
person in the yard that
Yeah.
one day I can't, like, that adds so much layers to the
Oh
discomfort for
man.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. Somebody online brought up a good point about it too, is that um when you really think about the, like, as much as, like, it's weird that her mother would participate in this, it's also not so weird either, because she's doing what most mothers would do for their children, and doing whatever needs to be done to protect them.
Yeah.
And
Especially because I think when you're put in that position, hopefully a lot of people don't have this situation.
yeah,
But when you're put in that situation, it's like if it's got to be somebody's kid or mine,
yeah,
like it's not actually that difficult, I don't think, in that regard,
yeah,
not that I would allow not that I
right,
would take dolls and drop them off, but I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
realistically,
yeah,
that type of bond and concern and, like, wanting to make sure that you keep your kids safe, and realistically, I mean, and they hint at this in the storytelling part, but it's like they were all each other had.
yeah,
So
yeah,
their bond was very specific and isolated, and it was a very unique kind of mother-daughter situation. It wasn't, like a more traditional storyteller would give it, I guess. It's very unique, and I think that really drives home that, like, insanity of, like, "No, like, I
hmm,
have to do this. I don't have a choice."
yeah,
So,
no, absolutely. Yeah, no,
yeah.
I agree. I think it's there's that the fact that she would do it is not a surprise, and it's
Yeah.
not, and I don't judge her for it. Like, like I
Yeah.
to a degree. I mean, there's definitely
Sure.
like you definitely are like, okay, well, come on. But
Yeah,
like
yeah,
when
yeah.
presented with that kind of thing, I mean, of course, like, like the fact that this actually is happening, it's very, very weird.
Yeah.
Um, I do like the dolls are interesting too, because inside the heads of each doll are the sphere with this like dark energy in it and
Yep.
everything like that, that is connected to each child.
Yep.
And it plays a part a couple of times in this, where earlier in the movie we see this one doll get uncovered in this barn, and it was weirdly buried in there. And then
Mhm.
it's connected to um this girl who survived, because she happened to be away when her dad ended up killing her mom and her sister.
Yeah.
And so she's been catatonic in this mental hospital since then. And it was something I didn't even think about until like somebody mentioned it, and I feel dumb for not having realized it. That when they took the ball out of the doll, that's when she woke up.
Yep.
And that was like, having that, it still was connected to her and everything like that, but being
Yep.
that was unburied and that the ball was removed from the doll's head woke her up. And until then she had been sleeping, much like the doll had been.
Mhm.
So that was interesting. And then later on in the movie we see her, Lee's mom,
Yeah.
shoots the doll of
Yeah.
Lee in the head, and the smoke comes
Yep.
out of that, and Lee
And then it
just,
also
yeah, comes out of
comes
Lee.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting though that like there was a doll of Lee made
Ugh, yeah.
too. And I think that was, when you really get into it too, you go back to the mother's motivations and stuff like that. He had made a doll of Lee. And so he'd been like, if you mess with me, I'm gonna take Lee. This
Yeah, because
doll
'cause they're
is,
obviously still connected, or
yeah,
her shooting it in the head wouldn't have done anything on terms of the mist or whatever you wanna call it
yeah.
that comes out of the back of her head, yeah.
Well, and the thing about it is too that the doll might have been in Longlegs' possession,
I kinda feel
but
like
but
it was,
and
right?
that, right, and so once the mom found out that he was dead, she's like,
Then
okay,
it
now I can finally save
yeah,
Lee. I can, this is all done now. um
yeah,
but she still had to, like, go and give that other doll to the other person, so she was still
yeah,
doing the work. Like, she wanted to save her daughter, but she
yeah,
knew she wasn't through with it no matter what. So I
yeah,
think that was an interesting um bit
mhm.
of that, and I think that she knew that her daughter was going to have to stop her and everything. So
I think
um
that's what she wanted.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it definitely, it this is a really layered, really well done movie with a lot going on in it.
yeah,
But very, very well told, without it being too overly complicated either, which I like.
yeah,
There's not a
I
lot of
agree.
it's not like a lot of metaphor going on or anything like that that just
No,
kind of
it has
clouds
depth,
it.
but it's
Yeah,
presented in a way where you feel like you're being told a story, not treated like you either have to figure everything out on your own or you're spoon-fed information. It's a good
yeah,
balance of the mystery with the information, and you don't feel like you're waiting forever to get to
yeah,
information. It happens, at a really natural pace, which I think is another reason it
yeah,
works so well and feels so unsettling is because you really it's like you're going through it in real time.
yeah,
It's very well done in that regard too.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I appreciate with it is just like you said, it's not it's gives you the information. It doesn't like make you guess at things. It doesn't make you because there's some
Right.
movies, and don't get me wrong, I love some movies that are like this too, that are more um like where they don't give you all the answers and they're
Yeah, I'm
just
good with
yeah,
ambiguity, Lord.
yeah.
Ambiguity. I was gonna say ambiguousness, and I was like, "That's not a word." Ambiguity. I'm good with ambiguity.
But yeah, so like I do love movies that have the ambiguity to them, but
Mhm.
I do think that with something like this, I like that it's more direct, that you get the
I
answer,
agree.
that you would,
Yeah, it
and I
fits
think
the
that's
vibe.
right, and I think that's
Yeah,
why Longlegs succeeded as well too, because it really did well.
it did.
Um,
Yeah,
and
people
so
really love this.
yeah, and so if you've got a movie, because like if you get another movie that's got more of a an ambiguous ending or
Mhm.
things that are weird or something like that that you have to think about. Not that those movies don't do well, but to a general larger audience and stuff like that, it's probably gonna just be more of a niche audience for those
Yeah, I
kind of
agree.
things. Um, and
Yeah,
so, and again, this it didn't spoon feed anything to us. It's not very like it's not a very simple movie or anything. It's still very complex, still a lot of ideas going on. But I think that's what makes it really good is it's it's it does all those things, but it also answers your questions while still leaving little bit out there for you, obviously enough so that they're going to make another movie in the universe. So,
yeah,
um,
yeah. Because the ending is not like open-ended per se, but
right.
it doesn't exactly end on a high note.
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
it's very like it's very thought provoking to like, okay, well, what now? Like, what do we do?
right.
Like, so and I didn't feel like I was cheated because of that. I actually thought that that was a great ending.
Yeah.
So,
No, I think it
yeah.
ended perfectly.
Yeah,
It ended
I agree.
right where it needed to end it, and
Oh
I
yeah.
think that it's and whatever they're going to be doing for this, if it's a prequel or whatever, I think
Mhm.
it'll be fantastic for that. And I mean, even if it's not a
Yeah.
prequel and we're just getting like maybe flashbacks to him or something like that, that'd be
Yeah.
cool too.
We could work. Yeah.
Yeah, because maybe after this, like there's like Lee has to go search for other dolls or something like I don't even know.
Who
Like
knows?
who
And
knows what's
they're
gonna happen?
just in a certain area, so who knows if
Yeah,
there's others. Yeah,
yeah,
they could
exactly,
could go a couple of different routes. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
definitely. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, no, it this for me, this is just it's a great movie. It
Yeah.
definitely a step up from The Black Coat's Daughter, which dealt with similar satanic themes, but felt like it kind of a little too slow, a little too meandery.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
um, but again, I like Black Coat's Daughter.
Mhm.
I just Longlegs just was really you know top tier and really kind of I think gelled his ideas a little bit better as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially for this specific story. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. Um, I think it's interesting too because Nicolas Cage and Osgood Perkins have talked about how um, that that because this movie is kind of about mothers and stuff like that, that a lot of their own mothers came into the things with this movie, and so I found that interesting too, because it sounds like to me that Osgood Perkins had a good relationship with his mother, and I don't know about Nicolas Cage, and his mother,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but it seems a little odd to be like, okay, well, this mother's not very good in this,
Yeah.
so
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
although she
She
is and she isn't.
isn't.
So,
Yeah, for
she
sure.
protected her daughter at the most extreme, like for the most extreme thing.
Mhm.
So You know,
Yeah, for sure.
we all say we would kill for our kids, and luckily most of us are never tested.
We don't have to do that.
So,
Yeah.
but she
Yeah,
did. So, but yeah. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was really fantastic, and I think
I agree.
if you haven't seen it after us talking about all this, and you definitely should go
You should go watch
definitely
it.
check it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
So, do you have anything else that we didn't talk about that you wanted to mention?
I think we hit all the important stuff. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to talk about, the music in this was really great.
Oh,
Yeah. This was it's credited to I forget. I it's his brother. It's Elvis Osgood. Or Elvis
oh,
Perkins is the it's Osgood's brother who
mhm.
did the music on Black Hood's Daughter also.
Oh, okay.
But he's credited as somebody else, but it is Elvis Perkins again. Which I think he did a fantastic job. Very atmospheric,
Yeah,
very
I agree.
weird. Um, but um, which I really liked. Like I liked the music in Black Coat's Daughter as well. It was very weird and unsettling. So yeah, he was credited as Dilgy. um,
Oh,
yeah, not sure why that name, but I think he just was going by something so it wasn't obvious that he was
yeah,
Osgood's brother.
sure,
Um,
sure.
but yeah, all right. Well, I appreciate you coming on and talking
Thanks
this
for
with me.
having me. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, um, why don't you let people know where they can find you online?
Majority of our content is on YouTube, but we are on pretty much all of the socials except Twitter. But we're on, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and Blue Sky. If you look for Voices from the Mausoleum, you should find us.
All right. Cool, cool. Uh, Definitely go follow, go check out the YouTube channel. I'm on a few episodes myself. So
Yeah,
yeah. Um, I like to pop in now and again. Um,
we like when you pop in.
yeah, thank you. Um, but yeah, that's all we have for this episode. And we'll get you on again probably here soon. We'll, we'll,
Yeah, sounds
we'll,
good.
I'll send you a list of upcoming stuff later
Oh, yeah.
so you can see what you might be able to pop in for.
Yeah,
Um,
perfect.
but until next time, stay creepy. Thanks for listening. Creepy and Geeky is produced and hosted by Robert Clark. If you like what you've heard, please consider giving the show 5 stars and a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and share the podcast on social media to help spread the word. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app or at creepyandgeeky.com. You can follow the podcast by going to creepyandgeeky.com and clicking on any of the social links. If you'd like to follow me, you can find my links at geekthulu.com. You can support the podcast by ordering teas and more on TeePublic or by donating to the coffee page. All of the links are in the show notes. Finally, don't forget, stay creepy.